Welcome, true believers, to another episode of the Flip City Podcast. We are your rad retro hosts of all things 80s, 90s, and throwback pop culture. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Greg.
Greg, we are into some deep dives. We have been going into the last 9 episodes. We're celebrating an anniversary today. The last 9 episodes, we've gone into some deep dive, fun discussions. We've talked about fantasy retro drafts. We've talked about the nostalgic trips down memory lane, all the things that we love, that we hold near and dear to our hearts. But now, today, Greg, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary.
That means we are live from Madison Square Garden, and
it's our 10th episode anniversary. 10 episodes, and here we are, and we're in spooky season. Ooh.
Was that a ghost? What was that?
That's me. This is my spooky voice.
Let's see, jazz hands or Scott Hall. I can't tell what you're doing.
This is my favorite season. I don't know about you. Is this like, how do you feel about what I term spooky season? I start this in August, by the way. I call August October, because I'm hoping and praying for cooler weather, but it doesn't come yet till, now like end of September. But yeah. Spooky season, man. How do you feel about it?
Spooky season is a blast. Everything about it is great. It used to be my favorite temperature season up here in New York, because you used to be able to walk that line of shorts and a hoodie, but global warming has kind of dampened that. So, yeah, everything's fun. Like all the pumpkin spice lattes, apple scented stuff, and an excuse to watch all of the spooky content that I watch year round anyways. So it's just acceptable in this season.
So here's the thing. So obviously you're New York, I'm Florida. What this means for me in Florida is that I get to enjoy some nice 80-degree weather instead of 90-something degree weather.
Another
so scam. I get to sit outside. My favorite thing to do is to sit outside in the patio, and even get some work done and all that. And then at night, the cool thing to do at night is to light up a fire pit. I have this cool fire pit in our backyard, and to throw some movies, project movies on we have like this white fence. And so we throw up some movies and, all that. So, and it's spooky season. That means we get to throw up there some spooky watches, which is our theme for today. I'm calling it our trio of terror. Okay. And so for the next 3 episodes, we're in spooky season. We're going to be talking about Halloween-themed things, fall-themed stuff. And I thought that today would be appropriate for us to cover not a draft, not one topic, but rather give our top 5. And have it be like our top 5 things that we must watch during this season. And so, for me, this is the time where as soon as that season hits, the first thing's got to get streaming on there. And from here on out, it's Halloween themed stuff. It's spooky stuff. It's fall stuff. What about you? Does this get you in the mood for the ultimate Halloween day?
Always. Yeah. I mean, totally. And like I alluded to earlier, my problem is I watch most of this stuff all year round anyways. So, I think I watched 2 of these pieces of, I don't need treasure. I'm not sure.
Treasure.
These Halloween treats, if you will. I watched 2 of them last week alone. So,
well, okay. So I'm with you on that, because there's some stuff where it has to hit at the right time for me. There's certain watches that are okay. This is a Halloween time watch, but then we get into just stuff in general. So we have to admit, the elephant in the room is this. It's a top 5 for each of us. The number 1 in our top 5 is in reality not the true number 1, because I think you and I can both agree that the true number 1 is Ghostbusters. Now, Ghostbusters is an anytime movie, but during this stretch of time, for me, Ghostbusters at least is playing, if not once a week, every other day, sometime in my house during this time of year.
So just to wrap this up shortly, my other 4 movies is Ghostbusters Afterlife, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Ghostbusters 2016, and Ghostbusters 2.
and the Halloween theme episode of the real Ghostbusters.
Ooh, the day that Halloween never ended. That could be wrong.
The Halloween that almost wasn't?
Damn it, that was it.
Is it? Look at
Oh, wait, maybe it was the Halloween that never ends? It was the one with Sam Hain.
Listen, if you want details, this is the podcast to come to. You want factual information. We are a fountain of misinformation.
If you want us to eventually get to the correct information, you're in the right place.
We'll find it one way or another, or not. And then you could just email us and correct us. Email us at flipcityghostbusters@gmail.com with your corrections. Okay, so since this isn't a draft, this doesn't have to be, there's no order as far as who needs to go first or who wants to go first. Do you want to hit me first with your number 5 of your top 5 must-watch Halloween, top 5 Halloween watches? That's what I've called it.
That sounds good. We should go in age order, so youngest person goes first.
Sounds
Got
good.
him.
Age before beauty. You go.
Whoa. I'm wearing a Frankenstein mask, bro.
This is... When do we start the podcast, by the way? This is rehearsal, right?
Are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Oh. All right.
Hit me up. Greg, number 5.
Let's get this on the road. So, number 5. I'm going to go with one of my favorite TV shows, I will say of all time. Sure, we'll give it that stamp of approval. But I'm going with an episode of Stranger Things from season 2 called Trick or Treat, Freak.
So, man.
This is hits on a couple of different, besides Stranger Things is just a love letter to the 80s and 80s movies and, E.T. and Goonies and Monster Squad and Ghostbusters. But in this movie specifically, in this episode specifically, we get to hear our favorite theme song from our favorite franchise. You get to see the kids are dressed up as Ghostbusters riding their bikes to school. You get to see the internal struggle of who will be what Ghostbuster when Lucas and Mike just show up to school and they're both yelling at each other that they're both going to be Venkman. And it's hilarious.
That's a solid argument to have, though, too. Like, who gets to be what and who gets to dress as what. Stranger Things. So, first off, I think it's rare that you find a show that was so awesome in its first season as Stranger Things was. Like, Stranger Things, right off the bat, was an incredible show. And I say was, but I mean, like, because the seasons take a 3-year break between every season. These kids are going to be in college by the time the next season comes out. But the first season was incredible, and it was great because it had little throws to Dungeons and Dragons, because that's that really kind of hit me right away in the first episode and all. And then you start thinking to yourself,
flying around, all good stuff.
Falcon. How are they going to top it? How are they going to start season 2 off? And they started off with these guys dressed as the Ghostbusters in full-on 1980s we gotta make this up costumes.
Oh, beautiful.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah, cobbled together proton packs. None of them are wearing matching jumpsuits. It's great.
It's all stuff at least one of them told their mom the day before, "Mom, I gotta be a Ghostbuster tomorrow."
And what's great is this episode also captures the essence of Halloween and trick-or-treating in the 80s and 90s,
Yes.
Just total running around. And I don't want to say Hocus Pocus. If you look at the trick-or-treat scenes in that is trick-or-treating with a layer of gloss over it, whereas this is, just Max running around in a Michael Myers mask, scaring the crap out of the boys. Hilarious, because that's literally how it would go. You
Oh,
hide
no doubt.
behind.
Because I mean, like, it's a true depiction of what it was like as a kid. I'm going to talk about something else later on that kind of helps, that does the same thing. But it's like it's this true depiction of trick or treating as a kid in the '80s, and what that was, all really like. It's a solid episode also because
Yes.
they're just setting things up, for that season. But of course, Stranger Things has to happen, over the course of, during this Halloween time. It'd be really dumb for them to like have skipped over that, especially doing a show from the '80s. And the thing that I loved was looking around at all the other costumes.
Oh yeah.
Because when you look at all the other costumes, like in the background and stuff, it's those things. You have those Ben Cooper costumes, kids walking around with the plastic masks, with the rubber band, and then by the end of the night, you're holding the mask to your face because the rubber band already snapped.
Wayne's a sucker for some Ben Cooper costumes.
I'm a sucker for that. Man, listen, I had a Halloween costume. We'll talk about this probably a little bit more, but I used to have a Halloween costume, and it was a Superman Halloween costume that had Superman's little face with the little curly Q, and the only other way that you could tell that it was Superman was not because it had an S on the front, but no, it just said Superman across the front. That plastic smock.
Just in
They
case you
could have
weren't
taken
sure.
advantage. I don't think it was a legit Ben Cooper costume. It may have been like a.
It was like a Stan Pooper costume. Got it. Okay.
Somebody bought it. Somebody bought it in the trunk of somebody's car. That's what it was.
I mean, like
All right.
you're saying your favorite costumes as far as like looking around and seeing the other costumes. That's my favorite part of ET is the Halloween scene. Like,
Is that? Did you just throw in like a bonus pick in the middle of all this?
no, I'm just saying like my favorite part of ET is that when the kids are trick or treating. Like that's it. Okay, you can go ahead.
All right. I think you threw in an honorable mention without even like we were still on this list.
I would not honorably
goodness.
mention ET.
Once again, Greg with the no rules bro lifestyle. It's all right. My number 5 is a classic, and I'm talking like a classic from the '60s that not everybody is a fan of in this room, but I'm a fan of it. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and this is one of those things where this is clearly not a year-round watch. You cannot watch this in the summer. You can't watch it in the spring. But for 28 minutes, you get transported into the little world of the Peanuts gang. And then you live the life of these little kids in the Halloween season. And poor Linus, every year, waiting in the pumpkin patch for the Great Pumpkin to arrive. And he spends the entire episode begging for somebody to join him in this pumpkin patch while everybody else is going, as I like to hear them say, tricks or treats. They like to go do their tricks or treats. But no, Linus is waiting for the Great Pumpkin so that the Great Pumpkin could give him gifts. I think he's confused maybe Pumpkinhead from the horror movies and Santa Claus together and mixed it in weird and thinks he's like, the Great Pumpkin's going to come. Never comes, spoiler alert. And then my second favorite part of this entire special is, again, Charlie Brown, who's like the punching bag for the entire town in Peanutsville.
Whoa. Peanutsville is the town?
No, I just made it up. I don't know the name of the town.
Oh,
What town are they from?
I thought we were breaking news.
No, it's Peanuts Land, Snoopyville, Snoopy Villa. He starts cutting up the holes and he can't get them right for his ghost costume, and he ends up with like literally just a sheet full of holes. And what does he get every time he goes trick or treating? A rock. Everybody's saying, "Oh, I got a Kit Kat bar. I got a Reese's. I got this." What'd you get, Charlie Brown? I got a rock. And he ends up getting that all night long. They know it's Charlie Brown. They know they got to treat him like a punching bag for some reason. And there it is. That's my number 5 pick, Greg. It's a great pumpkin. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
That's a solid pick.
It's a solid number 5. It's not the best.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've ever watched that all the way through.
Well, give it 20 minutes of your life, Greg, or something. But here's the thing, and I will tell you this. It always, when I was a kid, it always got paired. Spoiler alert, maybe, little hint. It always got paired with my number 1 pick. Ooh, that's called a tease in radio biz.
Oh, he's doing spooky fingers again.
I'm going to be doing spooky fingers for the next 3 episodes.
Wayne's
just so you know.
actively trying to be like a marionette guy. It's just...
Ooh, I'm going to be like, oh, man, who was the guy, who was the horror host, when we were kids on TV? He's the guy who was always doing creature feature. Not Sven Gulli, but like, there was a dude. Anyway.
Mr. Wizard, I think was his name.
Mr. Wizard was in Nickelodeon. He was scary for other reasons. Number 4, Greg. What's your number 4?
Number 4. All right, so I'm going with a not so classic.
Can't afford effects.
I'll go with a not so classic, but a classic in my house, because it's fairly new. This movie's only 4 years old, and we are going with some Hubie Halloween. This is an Adam Sandler film with the whole Adam Sandler crew, and it is ridiculous and beautiful, and I could watch it over and over and over again, and it is one of the most quoted movies in my house. Anytime somebody is scared, Hubie Halloween. Murder! Like, it's just so good. He's got a utility thermos in the movie, and
so talk to me about Hubie Halloween a little bit. Like, what is? Because I got to be fair. You have been telling me about this movie for about 4 years, and last year is the first time I actually saw it. I gave it a watch, and so you're the Hubie Halloween expert. Tell me, tell everybody a little bit about. What is this character of Adam Sandler's?
So pretty much Adam Sandler. This movie takes place in Salem, Massachusetts, on or around Halloween, and he plays a character named Hubie Dubois. And Hubie Dubois is the self-proclaimed Halloween expert of Salem, Massachusetts, and he goes around and he makes sure that everybody's only taking one candy, and he and everybody mocks him and makes fun of him until something crazy starts happening on Halloween, and they need Hubie Dubois to help solve a murder, if you will. And it is hilarious. It's your typical Adam Sandler antics. It's all of Adam Sandler's friends in this movie. You know, Shaquille O'Neal's in it, of course. It's just a good time, and this is another one that, despite actually having the word Halloween in the title, this is a year-round watch at the Goslin household. Okay,
so if I could best describe the Hubie voice, it's like
Hubie Dubois.
Hubie Dubois. It's a mix between it's a mix between Waterboy, Bobby Boucher.
Oh yeah.
And his voice.
Yes.
It's kind of like a blending of those two voices, and then it's the same lip. It's the same lip hang that he does when he's what's his name? Billy Madison, but Billy Madison at the beginning of Billy Madison when he's still
if you took if Adam Sandler's all of his characters were Halloween themed Play-Doh and you just mashed them together, then you would get Hubie Dubois. And
if you take Spooky Hands and you turn them sideways and put one above the other, that's Adam Sandler.
It's true. There you go. And there's Kevin James is in it, and one of my favorite lines is a little kid tells him he looks like a Muppet in the movie, which is something I say quite often as well prior to this movie coming out. So,
aw, my light died.
Haunted illumination.
You start making fun of Hubie Dubois, and all of a sudden the lights go out.
So yeah, go to your Netflix,
nice.
Go watch it because the new one's dropping. I think it's September.
There's a new one?
Yeah, coming out September.
He's making all the sequels. He's making Hubie Dubois 2, and he's making
pretty sure,
Gilmore 2.
You know how they have on Peacock, there's the WWE section. Netflix just needs to make the Sandler section because he's got I think 14,000 movies on that platform. So
sadly, I can't even. Oh, okay. It's an honorable mention. I'm going to throw an honorable mention. Sadly, the Netflix deal is the whole reason why he couldn't voice Dracula in Hotel Transylvania 4.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
is he not in Hotel Transylvania 4?
He didn't voice it. Somebody else. A very good Adam Sandler impersonator.
So not Wayne.
Not me. stepped in and did the voice for Adam. I think it's the same actor who does like the dub-ins for Adam, like in movies, like for like the TV versions and things like that. But yeah, totally not Adam Sandler in Hotel Transylvania
What
4,
a bummer.
which is an honorable mention in my list. So I threw that in.
All right, Spooky Fingers. What's your 4?
And we're back. My number 4.
Like you fell asleep over there.
No, I was buffering. Number 4 for me, Greg, is a perennial favorite here in the show. One of the all-time great spooky season watches. It is The Monster Squad.
Ooh.
What happens when you take bootleg Universal Monsters, you take The Goonies, and you take a little bit of the Ghostbusters, and you throw them all together and mix it up, you get The Monster Squad. It's probably, it's not the best movie. It hasn't aged well, I'll tell you that. So there's a lot about it in Monster Squad that has not actually aged very well.
It's
period.
one of those 80s PG-13s that might be a like NC-17 now.
It's one of you literally got to turn to somebody and go, "This was made in the '80s," and it was kind of like it kind of gets that pass.
Are you talking about like Rudy being middle schooler and like smoking a cigarette?
Listen, I knew some middle schoolers that were.
Did they start like a match on their loafers as they're riding their BMX bike?
Listen, never in my life have I been able to light a match on anything except for a matchbox. I don't know what these other people are doing, but Monster Squad is just a fun, silly kind of monster romp. I love being a Frankenstein's monster fan. I love Frankenstein's monster in that movie. It's just cool. It's one of those movies where you get every single monster, even though Universal Studios passed on the movie, right? Even though they passed on it, they did a really good job of creating, really, I mean, honestly, bootleg versions of all these characters.
Yeah, like if you were going to the dollar store and you saw the monsters.
Yeah.
They were like Universal. There was like an E in the like.
And so, but it's great. I mean, listen, you got to have everybody. You have the Mummy, you have Gillman, you have the werewolf, you have Dracula, and then you have
Wolfman, and you have Wolfman's nards in that movie.
But do we have to put a parental advisory now because we said nards? Is that
no?
Is that a thing? No, it's okay.
I don't even think it's a word.
It is a word.
Think about it what you may think it is, but you never know.
Which you never know. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you just got these great monsters. You got this great story. You got Frankenstein and the little girl, becoming best buds and best friends, and then the overall arc of these kids trying to find out how to defeat the monsters. And so, anyway, start to finish, it's a fun movie. You got to put your 80s earmuffs on when you're watching it. For some of the scenes, but it's just honestly, it's just a blast, and it's a wonder to me why it didn't catch on as quickly as it did. It really only found itself like a second life, maybe like in the last 15 years, last 10 years.
Oh, totally.
Where you really hear people talking about Monster Squad.
Yeah, and to jump in with Wayne's headcanon, some Greg's headcanon is this and Goonies takes place in the same universe because the mom is the same, so. Mikey and Brand's dad couldn't save the Goondocks, so she moved and divorced him, then married this cop in the next town over, and this blew up in her face because literally there's monsters throwing dynamite at her house. So
I'm having a hard time believing that Mrs. Goonie would just up and leave Mikey that way. That's just kind of, and then
80s,
only to get wrapped
no
up in this whole thing.
No
rules.
No
rules, bro.
Maybe Monster Squad is the Goonies sequel. And the mom is the lion through all of them.
I would have bought that one. That one I would have bought. But yeah, Monster Squad. It's a lot of fun. Greg, number 3.
Number 3. I'm going like full blown horror for this one, but not like the bloodiest of horror movies, but my personally favorite horror movie. is a Wes Craven classic in 1996, Scream. Scream is so good, and I definitely have, a connection to this movie in the way I first saw the movie, because I didn't go see it in theaters. I was only 13 in 96, but
young whippersnapper.
I had older cousins. So when this movie came out on VHS, my cousins took us to Blockbuster, and I had another cousin that's the same age as me. And we definitely rented it, and probably shouldn't have rented it. And I remember vividly watching it at my aunt and uncle's house in their den. And having the crap scared out of me, because as we were watching this movie at like midnight at 13 years old, my cousin came home and forgot her keys, and we wouldn't let her in the house because she started banging on the windows.
Like, no.
And then,
I remember seeing...
and then we ratted ourselves out that we were watching Scream because we had to wake up my aunt and uncle to let in the killer.
Remember the days where you would get in trouble for watching scary movies? Like, that was like, that added the extra bit of fright, because it was like, not only were you scared of what was on the screen, but you were also scared of getting in trouble. And I said, oh man, I saw Scream. I was a college student at the time, Greg. And so at the time, the movie theater was in walking distance of our campus. And so I remember going with a bunch of friends, and this was one of the first like midnight screenings that I'd ever gone to, where it was like the movie was coming out, and it was coming out and it was going to be shown at midnight, like on a Thursday night for the weekend. And we walked to the movie theater to see this midnight showing of this movie. And I remember it being like 2:00 in the morning, and we're having to walk the streets on our way back to school. Terrifying. And it's like, What are we doing watching a slasher movie and then walking back by ourselves? Why did we do this?
Especially the slasher movie where they're killing students like in the middle of the night. Let me tell you, that movie though is just so much fun. There's so many like good actors in that movie, like, and I don't know, like Matthew Lillard, hilarious in the movie. So good.
So
my mom's gonna be so mad at me. Like, after he stabs
That's the first time I saw him, like Matthew Lillard. That was the first time I'd ever seen that guy. And I remember as soon as I saw him, I'm like, this guy should play Shaggy. And then fast forward, he ended up being Shaggy. It was just kind of wild. The Scream mask was, I remember that being one of the first props I'd ever bought, where it was like, that Halloween, that mask was for sale, and I kept that, and for the rest of my college career, that mask came in handy for a lot of jump scare moments, hanging out, like, just around the corner or out of the bushes and that kind of stuff. That was a fun prop to own on a college campus, I tell you.
All I do is I'm picturing you with the Scream mask playing NHL Open Ice.
I'm so good it's scary.
Messier! He's just yelling it out in Scream mask.
Oh, okay. My number 3 is a TV episode of a show called Freaks and Geeks. You ever heard of it, Greg? You ever heard of Freaks and Geeks?
I have watched the Freaks and the Geeks.
So Freaks and Geeks, it's a great, retro show created by Judd Apatow. And then literally all of the Judd Apatow people got their start in this show. You got Seth Rogen, and you have
Jason
the other guy, and Jason Segel, and then James Franco, and all that, and Linda Cardellini,
Hawkeye's wife.
Hawkeye's wife, and
also in Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that's so true. That's right, Zelma.
Full circle.
Jinkies. And so this show was great on, it's one of those shows where it's like, this should have gone more than one season. This show really should have gotten renewed. It's a great show altogether. But I remember specifically their Halloween show being so great. And one of the reasons why is because the depiction of the trick-or-treating was so spot on, but not just trick-or-treating as kids, but trick-or-treating as middle school students and high school students, because this is where it got really real, because there is a scene where they get the younger guys, the freshman kids, they get egged by the seniors. And I remember that scene happening all too well. And so I was not the egger, and I was not the eggee, but I got to bear witness to many an egging when I was in junior high and still trick-or-treating. And so that there's just a scene where it just breaks your heart, because Linda Cardellini, the older sister, she's in the car with all the seniors, and they've got eggs, and they're driving through, and they start egging kids, and before she knows it, she throws the egg that hits her own little brother right in the face. And again, family drama ensues, but man, that was a throwback, especially because some of their Halloween costumes just were spot on for the 80s. So good.
Do you like nostalgia?
I love nostalgia.
Yeah, me too.
It's my bag.
Also,
I'm the biggest nostalgia guy in the biz.
I wish when I was a senior in high school that eggs were still like the choice weapon, because with it, like, our seniors moved up to paintball guns at that point. That was brutal.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, bro.
What in the world?
I don't know why that was a good.
Where did you grow up? The demilitarized zone? What in the world?
Long Island, New York, bro.
Long Island, L.I., baby, L.I. Oh, okay. So, Greg, you're number 2.
All right, number 2. I'm going with a franchise that has both been a TV franchise, but I'm going with the movie version of this show. We are going with the 1992 classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. So it is starring Christy Swanson, Jungle Boy's dad, Luke Perry, and Pee Wee Herman's in it. David Arquette's in it. Bill from Bill and Ted in this one too? I might be confusing.
Yeah. He's one of the Bill's from Lost. He's in another.
Jumping the gun, bro.
Movie.
Apparently, I like movies with all the same people in it, so it's okay. But
you got a wheelhouse.
It's your classic, like, cusp of the 80s, early 90s movies. Awesome soundtrack. Lots of color for somebody that is murdering vampires, and Kiefer Sutherland's dad's in the movie, Donald Sutherland. I don't know if you know that. This is the only
Donald Sutherland.
But
Kiefer Sutherland's dad.
He's the vampire hunter trainer, and it is just a fun, blast of a movie. So, and I love that Pee Wee Herman is the main baddie in this movie.
Paul Rubens, sir, use his government name. Pee Wee's a character. Pee Wee would never be a vampire.
I think you're wrong.
He would never be a vampire.
Pretty sure he's a vampire in an episode of Pee Wee's Playhouse.
That's pretend. That's where he pretends to be a vampire.
All right, I'll let it slide.
Poor Greg. I think he's got to lean back and cough every so often. Okay, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, very underrated, that movie, especially because when the TV show came out, the TV show was great. That was awesome. It was good and all. But that movie was really something. I'm surprised that it never got a sequel. I'm surprised that it never went anywhere else when it came to just the movie version of Buffy. Because
I think it's cool because the movie and the show are two polar opposites. Like, the show takes itself so seriously, and the movie is just like, here we go. So
campy.
Pretty much Airheads, but fighting vampires. Like, it's.
Oh yeah.
Like, Luke Perry is trying to avoid becoming a vampire. David Arquette is like fully embracing becoming a vampire, and they're buddies. So, and it's just a good time, which is. I love when you could take a movie, whether it's a Halloween movie or any movie, and you're like, all right, this movie is only like an hour and 45, and I know it's just going to be fun the whole time.
You know what I'm going to do, Greg? I'm putting that on my list. I'm going to make sure I watch it this season.
I think it's on the HBO Max or whatever it's called now. Max.
Something else now I got to subscribe
Max.
to. Spending more money than I do on subscriptions than I did on cable. Okay. Are you ready for my number 2? I keep going further back and further back in time, my friend, because this is a classic. And I'm going on record to say this is also my favorite Universal monster movie, period. It is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And have you ever seen this movie, Greg? Just like, have you actually honestly seen it, sat down and watched it?
No, Wayne, I haven't seen it. I didn't watch it live like you, so.
Okay, I didn't watch that live. Don't I'm not that old, sir. No, but let me just tell you about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, okay? Because when you think about this, you would tend to think, this is just some slapstick comedy with monsters being goofy and all that. What I love about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is this. It is an actual, through and through, Universal monster horror movie. It is actually a scary movie, and then the main heroes just happen to be Abbott and Costello. Like, it's one of those things where they don't skimp on the, retro horror like stuff and all the spooky, scary stuff. They don't skimp on that. But they actually then throw in the comedy of Abbott and Costello in it. And then in this movie, you get Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the werewolf, and you even get a special cameo at the end from another Universal monster. And so you get all this packed into one. And of all of the Abbott and Costello Meet This Monster movies, and I would dare say of all of those celebrity meets a monster movie, this is the best. This is the greatest of all of them. I would stake my reputation on it. Watch this movie, and it's a blast. It's annual.
Did you karate chop the mic again?
Yes, I karate chopped the mic again.
I'm going to call this out every time it happens.
Put this on your bingo card.
We need like a little, Steven, we need like a noise anytime Wayne does it. It's like, bing.
No, it already makes the noise.
Or what if it's like
you don't need an extra noise.
We just hear like a, yeah. Like it's just...
First off, on this bingo card would be Wayne hits the microphone. On this bingo card would be reference to Riverboat Playhouse.
And then no rules, bro.
No rules, bro. Let's do this. I think that would make a great design. Let's design ourselves a bingo card, and then it'll be great. Find a guy who does this. Anyway,
download the bingo card on our website.
Download it now. So there you go. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. I'm telling you, I would stake my reputation on it. It is a great viewing. And it's like scary enough. It's spooky enough. You could watch it with the kids, and they'd be like, ooh. But then, like, they're not going to go to bed because he's afraid of all the blood and all that, because that's not in that either. But it's great. Frankenstein. Love the guy. Okay. Greg, it's come down to this.
Oh, yeah.
Your number 1. Hit me.
Well, yes. My number 1, I kind of messed it up, but my number 1 is the 87 classic, The Lost Boys. It is one of not only my number 1 for spooky season, but this is, if I'm going to be honest, it's right up there with Ghostbusters and Goonies. It's the best movie soundtrack ever.
Yes.
Lost in the Shadows, I still believe, it's another movie with both Corys in it. You got Haim and Feldman. You got that 80s mom whose name I don't know, but she shows up a bunch as well in a bunch of other 80s movies.
It's not the Goonies mom, though.
No, it's not. So not in the same universe as the other two. But they move, in with their grandpa who lives in Santa Clarita? Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Santa Clarita, yeah.
Yeah, it's the vampire capital of the world. And this movie is just so good. And I went to watch it last night, and I didn't realize it's an 80s R rating, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. That's not one you watch with the kids.
I'm like, what's in it? Then I looked it up, and it's really, honestly, at this point, probably just a PG rating. So, like, it doesn't look that... I mean, besides the blood.
Oh, yeah. Jamie Gertz in this movie.
Yeah, she's the one that never acted again after this movie, right?
No, she's acted a bunch of times.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
She's in a bunch of things. Bill S. Preston, Esquire, is in this movie.
Yes. So good.
This is where he plays the vampire. And you got Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland's son.
And I got to tell you, Donald Sutherland's son, he's another vampire guy. No, and here's the funny thing. Great movie. Great movie. But I got to tell you, it's so funny. Jason Patrick just kills. I would almost rather watch a cut of Lost Boys where he's not in it. You know, he's the one dude that like kills it for me because the Coreys are great. His acting is the one that always messes it up for me. But
yeah, like when he's like when he's hanging out the window and he's like, Sam, let me in, Sam. It's just like, bro, chill.
I know.
I feel like he had the same Josh Brolin thing. What is my meaning behind this when I'm hanging out the window, Steven?
What am I doing? When you're a vampire. You're a vampire. Oh man, good choice. Okay, my number one. I know we say the word classic every time we mention one of these top fives, but I would say that not just this special, but this individual is the definition of classic. Because my classic number one pick is Garfield's Halloween Adventure.
So good.
Garfield's Halloween Adventure is so good because not only is it, I would dare to tell you, it's the best Garfield special out of all of the ones, over the Christmas one, over the Thanksgiving one, over the camping one, like all of the ones that like ended up, airing. This is it. And so for some reason, when you mix Garfield with spooky elements, it goes so well because he scares so great. The animation of him just being frightened by the pirate ghosts and all this, it's so good. One of my favorite lines, I say it every year for Halloween, first off, is whenever they're getting candy, I'm always going, candy, 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 candy. I can't stop saying that. Anytime somebody says candy, all throughout spooky season. And then number two, my favorite line is when he says, he goes, Halloween's my middle name. Gar Halloween Field. And I end up saying that phrase all spooky season long.
Do you can't beat it. Do you sub your name in it? Like,
No, I still just say Gar Halloween Field.
Oh,
it's just you can't beat that.
Oh no.
And he learns a lesson at the end. He shares his candy with Odie. You can't get better than that.
And nobody gives him a rock. It's great.
Nobody gives him a rock. Listen, there's a reason why that's number one.
There's a reason. Garfield is the rock of Halloween season.
And I got to tell you, it's just like, it's so good. It is my number one favorite special. I'm going to tell you this. It starts spooky season for me, and it ends spooky season for me. So I literally sandwich it. It's the last thing I watch on Halloween night, and it also is the first thing I watch on October 1st.
So what you're saying is Garfield is the top layer and the bottom layer of your Halloween lasagna.
I knew where you were going. I knew it. So there you go, guys. Listen, that's our individual top 5 must-watch Halloween specials, movies, all that. I said it better at the beginning. Our top 5 Halloween watches. And so I want to throw out some honorable mentions, Greg. Do you have any?
Were we supposed to?
If you have any, you could throw them out there.
I feel like
mentioned a couple.
I feel like I did have one, and I totally went blank once you asked me. So you go first. Let me think.
All right, I'm going to throw out a couple, and if I take yours, tell me that I took yours, and you get the credit for it. Okay. So obviously, there's a couple things. Number one, movie-wise, Beetlejuice and Addams Family. Those two movies are great.
Classics.
Great spooky season watches. I would be remiss if I did not mention Hocus Pocus as an honorable mention. Great to watch with the kids. Number 2, Number 1, awesome. Okay. Did you have any? Did you want to throw in? Did you remember any, or are you still looking at
Trying
Google?
to think right now. I'm Googling.
All right, I'm going to throw out some specials that you will not pick. All right, you ready?
Go for it.
Number one, there is a Pac-Man Halloween special.
What?
That you need. Yes, you need to seek this out on YouTube. I just made Greg die from his cold. You got to look this up on YouTube. Now you know that Pac-Man had a Saturday morning cartoon, right?
I do.
Okay, so that same animated series had a Pac-Man Halloween special, which is Chef's Kiss. Chef's Kiss, I gotta tell you. And then another Halloween episode that I know you're not going to pick because you've never seen the show is it's the time travel show Quantum Leap. One of my favorite shows of all time. They have a Halloween episode that is, dare I say, insane. It is pretty stinking awesome. I'll put it to you lightly. Sam Beckett versus the Devil. And so that's what ends up happening in this episode. It's very spooky. It's very cool. And definitely worth seeking out on streaming.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I never would have expected Quantum Leap to have a Halloween episode, but sure.
Oh, dude, so good.
My favorite crossover Halloween episode is the MacGyver one, where he turns the pumpkin into a car and he drives it. I'm just kidding. That doesn't exist. But
Cinderella.
Oh, honorable mentions. Practical Magic is a fun one we watch all the time here. That's a good one.
Sandra Bullock.
Scream 2, Scream 3. The new Scream I watched. That's a good one as well. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if it's, and I love the Hotel Transylvania movies we watch with the kids. Those are fun ones to watch. And I think because they are, I mean, it's a Sandler movie, but it's also like, they harp on the 80s.
Hubie. A couple of Disney Channel movies, by the way, Under Wraps, really fun.
Never watched it.
And Halloween Town.
Ooh, see, the kids were watching that last year, and I was like, eh. But the new Mickey Halloween special, the one where Mickey tries to tell the scariest Halloween story ever. It is very good. It's listen, a lot of people don't like the new style Mickey cartoons. I'm a huge fan of it. They are Ren and Stimpy adjacent, so they speak to my Nickelodeon loving heart. And it's the Halloween special's hilarious. And also, Mickey is a vampire on the cover with candy corn teeth. So just for that, just go watch it.
And then the last couple that I would throw out are also TV episodes. You can't ever beat the Cheers Halloween episode. That is great. And then The Office. Any Office Halloween episodes are great watches.
Bookface.
Yep. Oh, and the Roseanne Halloween episodes are great.
Oh, I mean, we would be feel bad if I didn't mention the Home Improvement Halloween episodes. I thought were always solid as well. Are you Scooby Doo? You want to mention Scooby? Okay.
Hello, Raggy. Well, there you have it, folks. That is our top 5 and our honorable mentions of must-watch Halloween episodes, movies, shows, all that. We hope that we started your spooky season off right by giving you a watch list. And I hope you are able to check that out. If you missed any of those, we're going to do something different, Greg. If you missed any of those, we're going to put those on the show notes, okay? So we're going to put our actual list on the show notes. That means that Greg actually has to write down what his list was and send them, and then...
This guy always throwing me under the bus. Can I just, as we've been talking the whole time, I gave my little mini puff here. He's got a little knife just for spooky season.
What in the world? Those guys are already violent enough, Greg.
Yeah, but he's cute. He's sticking his tongue out and he's got a knife, so it's okay.
They need a Halloween special. So why didn't we mention the Real Ghostbusters Halloween specials?
We are your favorite bootleg Ghostbusters podcast. I'm just
not real fans. Greg, where can everybody find you online?
You can follow me at Greg Goslin on the Greg Goslin on the gram, and there's no plural. It's
hold on, wait. Ready?
Yeah.
Take 2. Greg, where can everybody find you online?
You can follow me at Greg Goslin on the gram, or just check out my my link tree in the profile for everything else where I'm creatively creating stuff on the internet.
You got to check out the Shop Zone as well. All the fun Flip City Ghostbusters designs are available right there on that link tree. Also, drop us a line, drop us a message. What are you watching during Halloween spooky season? FlipCityGhostbusters@gmail.com. Send us a voice memo, send us an actual email. You could write us a letter if you want, whatever you'd like to do. You can
carrier pigeon.
Carrier pigeon, we accept it all. Find us on all socials at Flip City Ghostbusters. Like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. We haven't done this in a while, but if you give us a 5-star review, send us a screenshot of that, email it, and I will send you your very own handy dandy Flip City sticker. So we'll send that to you straight away. The Flip City Podcast is a Radio Wayne media production. And I want to say a big thanks to our editor, Steven Orr. Steven, bravo. Chef's kiss.
What's your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie? If you are looking for an editor on your podcast, and Steven is available. He is currently accepting other bookings, but he's keeping us, okay? So just so you know, he's keeping us. But if you're looking for another editor, check him out. Be sure to visit Steven Orr online as well. He's available as Steven Orr Else on all other forms of media. Until next time, see you on the other side, Greg.
Party on, you spooky son of a gun.